Now on Channel 4, we're off to Doncaster to pick up The Morning Line, presented by Jim Mcgrath.
Good morning, welcome to The Morning Line, live from Doncaster on Racing Post Trophy Day. Well, is he overhyped? Is he already classically overpriced? We'll find out this afternoon because Celtic Swing, impressive winner of both starts of his career to date, puts his classic prospects on the line in the Racing Post Trophy at 340.
And the Racing Post Trophy is the most important and biggest newspaper sponsorship in racing. And of course the paper really goes to town, and it's Saville, confident Celtic will march on. What the trainers say, every trainer having their quotes there. And I think fascinating what Kevin Darley says. When Kevin spotted a star potentially, said, I remember thinking that I'd never seen a better looking 2-year-old. And Kevin really the man responsible for Peter Saville buying Celtic Swing. And of course Diomed Adrian Cook, he tips it must be Celtic Swing. That's for the Racing Post, and virtually all the press go along with it in the sporting life. Swing into action, Saville star out to prove he's a genuine classic contender. He's now no more than 40 to 1 to win both the 2,000 guineas and the Derby next year. 40 to 1, that's the price you'll get now. In the Star, Swing Time, Lady Harry's colt can post a warning. And there's a warning, though, from Peter Scudamore in the Mail: beware of the hype, steer clear of publicity that dreams are made of. I'll certainly get no hype on Channel 4, and the only paper that I can see opposing in a headline, certainly opposing the hot shot today, is in the Yorkshire Post. Derby hopeful set for shock at Doncaster. Don Corleone can foil Celtic Swing. That's our old friend Julius in the Yorkshire Post, the most worst designed newspaper I've ever seen. Comes from the days of Julius Caesar, no doubt. And in the Racing Post, though, the big question on the Racing Post Trophy Day: how good is he? And we've got three of the finest experts to tell us just how good is Celtic Swing.
He's absolutely oozing sincerity there with that statement, isn't he? Remember though, because Celtic Swing probably will win this afternoon, or I think he'll win this afternoon, Mac hasn't gone for his O-line when the hacks agree they're all wrong. He's backing off that one, but let's dissect the Racing Post Trophy in depth now by first of all taking a check on its runners and riders. Underway at 340, remember it's a mile. There you are, number 1, Anas Mirabilis, 11 to 2, the man of Frankie Dettori. Celtic Swing, 4 to 5, the best price you'll get this morning. Don Corleone, the man of David Harrison, at 7 to 1. Ewer Imperial, sporting outsider. Brett Doyle, 250 to 1. Fahal, who was 4th in a pattern race last time out at Ascot, 20 to 1. And moving on, Fill the Bill from Ireland, the mount of Niall McCulloch, at 100 to 1. He was placed in a pattern race last week. Indian Light, a non-runner, declared yesterday, then shortly afterwards was scratched by John Dunlop. Number 8, Joyosh, the mount of Willie Carson, at 6 to 1. And the Northern Hope, Secca Vale, an impressive winner there at Ayr on his only start, at 50 to 1. Well, Celtic Swing, the horse most eyes are on here because, as Max already told you already, a short price, or relatively short price favourite for next year's Classic, on the strength of 2 wins. OK, last time out he broke the track record at Ascot, but before that he made an impressive debut at Ayr in the Median Auction Maiden Stakes.
The thing to remember about this race is it was his first race. Celtic Swing was running for the first time, and the other thing is that he'd travelled 500 or 600 miles from Sussex for this first race, and often a very, very long way to send a 2-year-old. The other thing to remember is that Chilly Billy, who doesn't get much of a run over on the far rails there, went on to win the Gimcrack sensationally. So, when you see Celtic Swing coming away from that field in those circumstances, maybe he's not running on quite as he did later on at Ascot, but that was a good performance.
Well, I think John's a little bit hard there. I suppose if you take Chilly Billy out, the form isn't that great, but this represents a big step up in class, even from Ascot, a point John McCurrick put to owner Peter Saville yesterday.
It's a lot harder than the Hyperion Stakes, no question about that.
Are you worried about going up in grade like this?
I'm particularly worried about the ground because both his races so far have been on the fast side of good, and tomorrow is definitely going to be on the slow side of good, and that's the key factor with all horses is the state of the ground.
sore splints he suffers from. How bad a problem is that?
Well, he suffered from them in the spring, which is why he didn't run until July, and he suffered from them after his race at Ayr in July. So it's basically maturity, which a lot of 2-year-olds get, and he suffered from sore shins most of the year.
Now, in that race at Ayr in July, his race called debut, afterwards we all looked at the subsequent Jim Mcgrath winner, Chilly Billy, who was odds on, but you weren't exactly unfancied, 5 and 4 to 1 return, 7 to 2. You must have known you had a really good one then.
Yes, I was extremely confident that he would win the race, even with Chilly Billy in the race, and on his homework we knew this was a really special horse.
Now, watching him at Ascot, he seems to race with his head rather high, and he did wander off a straight line.
Well, as far as his head being slightly high, which I would agree with, I would put that down to 2 things. One, the ground was on the firm side of good, and I suspect that he's probably still just slightly feeling his shins. And also he's still a very immature and still a very inexperienced horse, and horses, until they really learn to race, don't know exactly what's happening when they hit the front like he did at Ascot.
His sire Damister was beaten by Lanfranco in 84. He's odds on now. Is he a horse to bet the odds on? You're a big punter. Would you advise punters dive in everything you've got today?
No, I would say at 6 to 4 on that he's not a good bet because of the ground. If the ground was on the far side of good, I would think that even at 6 to 4 on, he would be a good bet, and I would have been extremely confident.
Talking of bets, you've got 250 to 1 with Victor Chandler for the Vodafone Derby. How much have you had on? Is it going to bust Victor?
I think that's a matter between Victor and I.
You blocked that one, Matt, didn't you? You didn't get much out of him on that one, did you?
But as he said, you haven't got to have much on at 250 to 1, have you?
No, what his idea of not much on and everyone else's idea of much on are 2 different things. Lesley, I mean, if he is a classic prospect, he's got to win this to do it.
Yeah, I thought it was a fair comment from his jockey there in the paper that, you know, if he doesn't win by 100 yards, somebody's going to try and knock the form. That would be unfair. It is still his 3rd run. If he wins today, I think you can say he's a nice horse because he's done nothing wrong so far. That win at Ascot broke the course record. As you said, the win at Ayr was a fast time. And watching that, he moved beautifully. You disagree on this. It's the ground that worries me. He's just got such a lovely action. If it were to go soft, we've had a bit of overnight rain. It's a bit damp. We might get a bit more. It will slow him down a bit. It'll then have to be the class that gets him home ahead of the rest.
Well, John, Leslie's sort of picking me up on we disagree about the ground. She's worried about it. I'd say, I mean, Lady Harry said in the paper this week, I hope it's not too firm. Well, it's certainly not that. But the dam revelled in the mud. The dam absolutely revelled in the mud, and the sire went well, too.
And in any case, this is Doncaster good to soft, with a little bit of rain on it, you know. It's not like a bog, really. It drains beautifully, this course. If anything can't win on this, I don't think they can win.
There's 4 millimetres of rain overnight, incidentally, so that's hardly made much of a difference. Although, I mean, the forecast isn't too hot for today, is it?
Sad we're on millimetres, isn't it?
No, we've moved on.
Yeah, you just come to terms with decimalisation on the right here, but anyway...
I haven't really.
You haven't really, right. I would disagree with that when the checks come out. You seem to know exactly what you're on about. Let's move on with the main challengers to Celtic Swing. Annus Mirabilis. Well, he's another lightly raced horse, a very tall individual. I think he stands over 16.2 by warning. He won on soft ground at Yarmouth and then booked his ticket for a crack at today's event with a win in the Somerville Tattersall Stakes.
But it's down close in front, the big strong rip now to withstand Annus Mirabilis. And then Buhat coming quite well on the near side, just over a furlong to go, down close with Annus Mirabilis coming through. So too on the outside, Caravision on the near side, Buhat coming through now with down close, but if Annus Mirabilis is going to get there. Annus Mirabilis goes to win this one. It's a trouble for Michael Kinnan.
Michael, you supplemented Annus Mirabilis for £16,000. You don't throw your money about, nor does your owner.
Well, we hope we won't be throwing it about. You know, we're very hopeful we will get our investment back. We think he'll run well.
And the ground's possibly easier than when he won at Newmarket in the Somerville Tattersall.
He won in very soft ground at Yarmouth, so I'm not concerned about the state of the ground for him.
It's one of the few Group 1 races you've never won. Of course, Shergar was beaten, Cock Robin was beaten in it for you. Do you think you're going to change the fortune?
Well, I was very impressed with Celtic Swing at Ascot. I think he's going to take a lot of beating. He'd be tough to beat, but if we're in the frame, we will be satisfied.
One thing about Michael Stout and, well, John Dunlop, and I suppose the majority of the top trainers, he's very height-free, Michael Stout. He puts things in perspective. I mean, Annus Mirabilis, you couldn't say he was impressive at Newmarket, but he's a big horse. Maybe he wants more given the ground.
I love this horse. I mean, I think he's the most lovely stamp of a horse. Today, I think he's the one to turn over the favourite. I think
You're quite keen on this,
yeah, I am. The word on the street is he's been working well. He looks the sort of horse that the mile will certainly suit. I think at Newmarket he was doing all his best work at the end. He had a very nice, gentle, easy introduction by Michael, and of course he broke his maiden at Yarmouth. Michael's got so much good 2-year-old kit. They supplemented after Celtic Swing had beaten Singspiel 8 lengths at Ascot. They must know what they're about, and as you said, he is hype free. They don't waste their money. I can't believe it's just that Sheikh Mohammed wants a runner in the race.
I bet he does.
Well, yeah, I bet he does, but they don't always just throw one in for that, reason.
Sure.
I would give him every chance today to improvement.
John, if Anis Mirabilis is the tallest horse in the field, we now move on to the smallest member, Don Corleone, the mount of David Harrison.
Well, I think, the form is there. He did beat Made for Walking, and she, in turn,
went on to win
really
at Redcar.
confirmed that form. I think Don Corleone would be my danger rather than Anis Mirabilis. He hesitated a bit before he went through that gap. Anis Mirabilis, I wasn't all that impressed by him, but still, we've disagreed before.
Sorry, I'm trying to interject because I'd just like to pick you up on that. You talked about the form at Newmarket of the Houghton sales. Let's take a look at that again.
And it's Don Corleone that strikes the front down the centre of the track with Sharp Point the far side. Precede is finishing well off the back, Made for Walking. But it's Don Corleone who's cleared by 3 as they race up towards the line. Don Corleone takes it. Don Corleone, Made for Walking. Sharp Point in third.
David, Don Corleone, he's not much bigger than a pony.
No, he's a nice little horse. He's well built. He's only small, but he's a nice little horse to ride.
Now, after winning at Kempton, you were 2 lengths behind Anis Mirabilis back there, and Stiletto Blade won. You're £5 better off, but you did play up in the stalls that day.
Yes, he got a little bit fractious that day, but he was no problem at Newmarket next time. Mr. Charlton asked him to go in late, and he was fine.
And you had the big red car winner Made for Walking behind you at Newmarket. But is that Group 1 form?
Well, the third horse at Newmarket that day had already won a Group 1. That was one of Mr. Wells' horse, who won a Group 1 in Ireland.
Sharp Point.
Yes, and the other horses behind, I rode the 6th horse out of the race and finished 3rd in the Horrid Hill yesterday, so the races worked out well.
Now, Don Corleone would be your first Group 1 success. Do you reckon it's an each-way offer that punters cannot refuse?
Yes, well, I wouldn't stop him for any. I think he's got a good chance.
He stood up to you very bravely, I thought. They're usually intimidated by you. I know the national hunt jockeys are when you order them around, but he coped with you quite easily.
No. He's quite confident. First Group 1 race, just a slight chance to upset Celtic Swing, I think. But I think really he would like to be on Celtic Swing.
I'm sure they all would if they were absolutely honest. But of the others, Lesley, Sheikh Hamdan runs 2, David Morley's Fahal and Barry Hill's Joyous. How would you assess those 2?
I suppose again, you look at the jockey's choice. Willie's chosen to ride Joyous. He's previously usually ridden Fahal. I would actually give David Morley's horse a very good chance. I think they've been worried that they've been not riding him for stamina to get the trip. I could see him setting a good gallop today and going for it. He didn't get the best of runs when he was 4th in the Royal Lodge. So he's been there or thereabouts in decent company. But,
I mean, you made that point, but at the same time, John, I'd say in the case of Joyous, he hadn't run for a long time prior to Ascot, and although you could say that, well, Fahal will overturn it because he didn't get a run, Joyous just might improve a little bit more.
I think
Might
that's
easily.
fair.
Yeah. What about the others? At Northern Victory, Jack Hanson's a great supporter. It'd be lovely to see him have the winner, but
Wonderful, but very hard to foresee.
Right. Secavale, and you think Michael Stout, though, will have a birthday winner because he's 49 today.
Is he really?
Just had a worrying
didn't
time.
know that. Happy
He's
birthday, Michael, in that case. I didn't know.
So, in summary, Anis Mirabilis for you.
I'm afraid so. Sorry to the Stout stable.
Don Corleone for me as a danger, but only as a danger.
To what?
The favourite.
To Celtic Swing?
Yes.
And it's Celtic Swing for me as well. Right, let's take a check on the news overnight from Doncaster. Remember, we get underway this afternoon at 1:40. In the Racing Post Trophy at 3:40, number 7 Indian Light doesn't run. We've got 4 live for you on 4. Going good to soft, good in places, 4 millimetres of rain overnight. Cloudy, dry, sunshine and showers forecast. Do take a hint of that travel piece at the end there. A1M Roadworks, Doncaster Bypass. Motorists from the south advised to use the M18.
Well, many punters reported it's been an annus mirabilis for them, pretty miserable season, and they're sort of packing up some of them are going, and there's very little betting going on this morning in the Racing Post Trophy. People not too keen on laying the odds on. The shortest of the lot, 7-4 on Ladbroke, so that's the kind of price. It will be returned out, but they're looking around for the each way like Annus and Don Corleone, but nothing very confident. Newbury in the 220 number 10, strategic choice. The ground's soft for that. They're taking the 7-2 that. They think 5-2 or 11-4 strategic choice. Nothing very much at Newbury as well. Just to say in the tote jackpot, there's nearly £250,000 in the pool already. It could go up to over £400,000 for the tote jackpot. And just give you the stats for Celtic Swing, 11 favourites and 33 runnings have won the Racing Post Trophy, including 4 of the last 5. There have been 3 odds-on winners and 2 odds-on losers. Sals was beaten in 87 and Valinsky in 76. They're the stats for you Celtic Swing backers. But I've got a quiz question for you. Now, this Racing Post Trophy has been run under various names since 1961. 8 winners have gone on to run in the 2,000 guineas. 13 winners have gone on to run in the Derby. But only 1 horse won the Racing Post Trophy or its equivalent and started favourite for both the 2,000 guineas and the Derby. So which horse, winner of the Racing Post Trophy, was favourite for the 2,000 guineas and the Derby? The answer, don't ring us in, but we'll give you the answer later. That'll put your brain caps on for you quiz buffs.
Well, if you're not going to spend all day trying to work out his quiz, you might want to go racing. So let's see where up and down the country there are meetings to be had. There we go. As you know, we are here at Doncaster, and the rest of them are all further south. But another flat meeting at Newbury, and then over the sticks at Worcester and at Huntingdon.
After our sensational performance at Newmarket, I'm sure you're waiting for the general weather forecast. we said, if you remember, that it was bound to clear. Beautiful sunny day. Well, it didn't clear all that much. Today, I'm playing safe. It's unsettled. There's a chance of a gleam of sunshine occasionally around the place, but mostly it's grey, unsettled, and quite a considerable chance of rain.
So, on the flat at Newbury, first race 120, and they've had their rain. They're going is soft from good to soft overnight. 0.33 of an inch of rain overnight, but they are hoping for some sunshine this afternoon. But take your brolly, because there'll be some showers as well. And leave a bit of extra time if you're travelling from London, because there are M4 lane closures between junctions 11 and 12. That's Reading and Thiel. Over the jumps at Worcester, the first race there is 2:05. They're going good, but on the run-in, it's good to soft, so you'll need to be fit to get home. They've had 1/8 of an inch of rain overnight, and it's going to be showery this afternoon. Once again, some roadworks on the A449 in Ombersley Road. That's 2 miles north of the course. And at Huntingdon, again National Hunt. First race a bit earlier there at 1:45. They have been the place that escapes the rain, and it's good to firm. They might have a little bit of showers this afternoon, which I suppose might make the going a bit slippery, but otherwise not a bad day, and you'll get there in plenty of time because there are no traffic hazards. What will help you to get to Huntingdon is the new A14, A1, M1 link road is now open, and it's the first meeting since that road opened, and I can thoroughly recommend it. It makes life travelling east to west or west to east much, much easier.
Make it absolutely clear the tote jackpots here at Doncaster today could be over £400,000. Now, next Tuesday in Birmingham is the Bookmakers Show, and on Monday it's the Vetabet Golf Day in aid of the Stable Lads Welfare Trust, and it's at the Belfry. And I've seen some of the diabolical handicaps like Patrick Scott of SIS, Joe Scanlon of the Tote, and Mike Higgins of Vetabet. They've got handicaps of 20 at mark or over. So the real bandits going on there, but great fun at the Belfry on Monday, and the Bookmakers Show should be a great show on the Tuesday. And next Saturday at Walthamstow, in aid of the Injured Jockeys Fund down at the Stowe, there's a competition there for racegoers for 2 to go to the 40 Bridal Arc de Triomphe next year. So a cracking good day, 2 days really, the Bookmakers Show on the Tuesday, the golf on the Monday, and on Saturday at the Stowe, go down there for the Injured Jockeys Fund. I'm sure the Lord will be part of all that. You better see him and actually have a peer of the realm talk to you, and maybe win a prize to go to the 40 Arc.
Here of the realm, actually. Right, so let's move on with something that's not happening. Just a reminder to you, this was actually cancelled a long time ago, but there is no racing tomorrow at Uttoxeter. Briefly, it was a meeting that was scheduled as a trial meeting to try and convince the government we should have Sunday racing. Well, it's now been legally approved, and they'll be racing at some future date. June the 11th, 1995. So if it's in your diary, you're looking at your diary, you're planning to go to Uttoxeter, don't turn up tomorrow, there is no racing. Something that is happening today, though, is the British Horse Racing Board ownership clinic that starts at Doncaster this afternoon. Now, the purpose of each clinic is to provide information to both existing and prospective owners on a number of key areas, primarily, and one that's certainly can be confusing me, the VAT scheme and the sponsorship framework for racehorse owners. Another reason also how prospective owners can become involved in the sport. Now, the ownership clinic will be located in box 22, that's box 22 on the second floor of the Yorkshire grandstand, and will be open to members of the public and racing professionals from 10:30 a.m. through to the start of the last race. That's box 22 on the second floor of the Yorkshire stand. That's here at Doncaster, of course. Right, we're going to take a short break now. As ever, we leave you with a turf trivia, and today's comes from Mr. Tom Budge in Firtho, Caithness, up in one of our northernmost viewers. So, apart from Henry Cecil, he asks, who is the only trainer to saddle a winner of the Racing Post Trophy in the last 5 years? The answer in a jiffy.
Which paper takes you closer to the top names in racing? What paper has unique facts and figures for all the day's meetings? Who gives you the full rundown on past performances for every horse?
Morning, your Racing Post. It's all in here for the Racing Post Trophy.
The Racing Post is designed for you. It's got all you need for racing today. And they're under orders. And it's the Racing Post. Everyone's reading it. Are you?
Prepare to boldly go where no European business traveler has gone before. Into space. In the airport. In the new European lounges. And somewhere even more important. Club Europe's biggest seat ever. New Club Europe. A giant leap for business mankind. What piece of equipment enables man to journey through space? Club Europe welcomes the American Express card.
If I'm cold, I'll turn up the heat. I don't care about global warming.
We should fit proper draft excluders.
Oh, don't start.
We're paying to heat this house twice. Once to heat the room and once to heat the draft. We must fit draft excluders.
We could get a bigger cat.
Cutting down drafts is just one way to cut your heating bills. For more, call this number.
What are you doing? You know how you said you like new Surf's plastic waterproof container? Well, have this one. But it's empty. Oh, shame.
So, did you get it? Apart from Henry Cecil, who is the only trainer to saddle a winner of the Racing Post Trophy in the last 5 years, the answer was, of course, David Ellsworth with Seattle Rhine.
And I've got a turf trivia for the troops now. So it comes from Phil Masters, and don't try and read it, in Chandlersford in Hampshire. And it is, you can't trust any of them round here. Which Newmarket trainer insists on his staff wearing a hat when they lead up a horse at the races?
Oh, I know.
And not a hat like Max. I'm sure he'd object.
I know.
Mark Prescott.
You say?
Mark Prescott.
Tom Jones.
I think it's your husband. He's such a tyrant in Newmarket. The way he rules you, I think it must be him.
Jim is right. It is Tom Jones.
Is it Tom Jones?
So
See how often he goes to the paddock, can't you?
well done to Mr. Masters,
Talking
and
of
a
clothes.
brolly will be winging its way.
Talking of clothes, where did you get this lovely
Oh, right,
sweater?
thank you. Yes, it's actually,
Beautiful.
it's jockey's caps, and it's another one of these trainers' wives who has to work for a living. It's Mrs. David Morley, Melanie Morley, who sells lots of them. You can get cats, dogs, elephants, hats.
For
and
men
they're
too?
wonderful.
For men
Any
too?
well, I don't know any size, but within reason, any size. Only children's too you can
I
get.
don't think it's quite Oaks, that.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
I was thinking of my grandson.
Oh, right.
Yes, definitely. No, they're very good. Recommend them.
Well, we've had boxer shorts, we've had ties, we've had tops, whatever next. We'll move on in the meantime with the 4:15 race here at Doncaster this afternoon. The Doncaster Stakes over 6 furlongs. Quite a competitive little 2-year-old event, this. Little 2-year-old event. Quite a competitive 2-year-old event, never mind little. 8 for you there, of which I suppose the favourite would be Painted Madam, who's had a good spell of late, including this close second in the Rockingham Stakes at York.
Down to the last quarter of a mile in the Rockingham Stakes, and it's here that Painted Madam comes through from second place to take it out. Painted Madam from the last round up, and Sue McQuinn is finishing very strongly indeed. So too is Ginger Tree with the white sleeves, but it's Painted Madam who's got first round of the bone from Sue McQuinn, who's nothing if not game, and he gets his head down. So too his jockey comes right up to in fact strike the front, take it out from Painted Madam close home, and with 150 yards to run, it's going to be Sue McQuinn hanging on. Painted Madam being ridden again. There won't be much in it. Painted Madam could just have got up. It's a photo.
John, again, if unavailing effort.
Tremendous performance, really, when you think what Sue McQuinn's done. And Painted Madam's had a really hard season. But on the other hand, she showed how well she is because she trotted up at Catterick the other day.
Yeah, it's been a nice little confidence booster, that.
Exactly.
She's actually a very good example, Lesley, of how when you go racing, it does pay to keep your eye on the paddock because she's very often sweaty and edgy and doesn't take the eye because of that, but it hasn't stopped her running most consistently.
No, exactly. At York, she was a wash on the way down to the start, but she certainly came home well. She was very unlucky there and doing absolutely fought to the line, didn't she?
Of course, it's no one-horse race this afternoon. I mean, what do you make of the opposition?
I would probably say the biggest danger would be Overbrook, Ian Balding's filly. I think she's, done nothing wrong. I would worry slightly on the experience side. She won a maiden at Bath, but ran very well in the Gimcrack, and I think the step back to 6, not the Gimcrack, the Cornwallis, sorry, yeah, 5 furlong race. I think definitely the 6 furlongs today will suit much better, and hasn't had the sort of hard season at Painted Madam.
One or two of the others have had, yeah. John, if it wasn't Painted Madam?
The thing about the worry about the hard season about Painted Madam, but I think Overbrook's got much the best form. I mean, that Cornwallis run, if that's right, Overbrook would be a big danger to Painted Madam.
Well, it's that moment you hate, make your mind up time. So, tip for the view?
I'm afraid unoriginally Painted Madam.
Well, as long as it's accurate, we don't mind if it's unoriginal. Lesley?
I'll go for Overbrook.
Overbrook. Well, I agree with Oaks, which surely means it can't be right. I go for Painted Madam too. And that race, of course, the Doncaster Stakes, is one of the races for our champion tipster competition. Here are the entry details. 3 selections per race. Today's races are Doncaster 3:10, 3:40, 4:15 and 4:45. You don't need me to read all that out. I'll just give you the number. Register your selections on 0891 991148. That's 0891 991148. Right, we'll give you the winner of last Saturday's competition this afternoon, but now a chance to look back on something, well, very exciting and dramatic renewal of the Desert Orchid South West Pattern Chase that took place at Wincanton earlier this week. That's how they bet on the off. Egypt Mill Prince was a 6-4 favourite, with Bossy and Chieftain a 3-1, Mulbank 9-2, Give Us a Buck 15-2, and they basically were the chief protagonists.
And I only hope the great grey horse wasn't watching this, because it may give him nightmares. Bosky and Chieftain, 3 to jump at Wincanton. Bosky and Chieftain leading from Mulbank, with Egypt Mill Prince 3rd, and the eventual winner, Give Us a Buck, not even in the picture there. Now, you'll see that Bosky and Chieftain hits this 3rd last fence, and that has a serious bearing on the race, because it's probably there that he lames himself. Now, there, Boskin on the left, hit it not all that hard, but from there on, Richard Dunwoody immediately starts to pull up because Boskin Chieftain is going lame. Now, look at Mulbank, and look at Chris Maud and Egypt Mill Prince. Can you believe it? Unbelievably, Chris Maud recovered from that with nothing worse than bruises. Paul Holly, on the other hand, must have thought that Christmas had come early, because Give Us a Buck is left with the race at his mercy, only Bibendum giving pursuit. So Paul Holly, and amazed Paul Holly and Give Us a Buck, sail on to victory.
Should point out also that Jenny Pittman's representative, Egypt Mill Prince, the horse was fine. He actually remounted, Warren Marston remounted him and took third prize. But Jenny, John, wrote a book entitled Glorious Uncertainty. This describes National Hunt racing, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It's just possible that Mulbank was put off by Boskin Chieftain's pulling up. You see, now see how Mulbank ducks to his left, giving the jockey really very little chance because the saddle suddenly isn't where it was meant to be. And he finds himself sitting on thin air. Egypt Mill Prince tripped up by Chris Maud, who amazingly was just bruised. Richard Dunwoody, in the meanwhile, just manages to stay on Boskin Chieftain. He does not balk Give Us a Buck, who pops over and wins.
Well, there's never any argument in my mind that these guys, National Hunt jump jockeys, earn their money. They don't get enough, in my opinion. Mac, money's been a big subject in the papers all week. Cash for questions?
Well, it's cash for questions, yes.
Wouldn't we all like cash for questions?
I wouldn't mind $2 to go as you have, Jimbo, but I'm really quiet about that. Cash and money is, of course, the query that Lord Wyatt has been raised recently about these inordinately long stewards' inquiries droning on. And he picks it up in the Sporting Life here. Wyatt hammers the go slow inquiry. And he attacks what happened at Pontefract earlier in the week when he says this about, I wouldn't be surprised if the 80-minute delay at Pontefract cost the industry £50,000 in lost levy income. It is nonsensical. These ridiculously long inquiries are costing racing £1 million in levy and far more in lost turnover to the bookmaking industry. Both on and off course, it's terrible. Punters can't go on doing business. The whole thing grinds to a halt while the stewards drone on. In America, 5 minutes and the whole thing's over. But Lord Wyatt has a solution which I've been suggesting for ages. There's only two ways this can be solved. Either you pay first past the post, and then you argue afterwards what happens to the jockey and the prize money, or what you do is that bookmakers pay on the winner and the promoted horse. And this is what Lord Wyatt is coming up with as a suggestion for the Tote Explained. We are analysing what would happen if, when there was a steward's inquiry, we paid out on the horse first past the post, and if the result was amended, also paid out on the ultimate winner. Now, some independent bookmakers do this. The big firms don't like it. If the Tote took that option up, I think it would do a tremendous amount of business because the insurance policy, many punters would follow it. So that's a good suggestion. One more by Lord Wyatt of Weeford. Good for you, sir. Now, talking about the Breeders' Cup coming up in a fortnight's time, in the Racing Post, they said Lock Song gets a 7-2 quote, and they've got the American prizes. Lure is 6-5 to win the mile for the third time, and you can get 6-5 Flanders and the Fillies. These are the prices in Las Vegas. But also we have to say about the Breeders' Cup that both the trade papers carry references to Channel 4's failure to secure rights to the Breeders' Cup in a fortnight today. Now, each carries quotes from the middleman handling the rights on behalf of the American network NBC and the Breeders' Cup organisers. Now, contrary to the impression given, Channel 4 did do its best to get the event on your behalf, but unfortunately our efforts didn't find favour with the agent. So as things stand, the only places you can see all 7 Breeders' Cup races live is at one of the 8 racecourses taking the satellite service, taking the coverage on the satellite. 8 racecourses are doing it, and among them are Ascot, here at Doncaster it's been done, and Goodwood, and several other courses. And we'll be giving you all those this afternoon with the phone numbers. So to see the Breeders' Cup, that's the only way you can do it, see all 7 live. Very sorry we're not doing it on Channel 4 for this year. Now, my mate, Roger Easterby, he's the man who runs the marketing director at Lingfield. He has lifestyles in the Sporting Life today. He talks about the Boobies chocolate mousse, which I've had rather too much of. But
did he actually go around saying he's a mate of yours?
I think he admits it here, which also is rather unfortunate. But he has a very serious thing as a marketing man to say that if he was chairman of the British Horse Racing Board, he said that he would ensure that the marketing team visits all 59 courses as a matter of urgency. I can't believe that Lee Richardson hasn't done this already. They discuss the individual problems of each course, supplement the ideas of the strong courses, and devise a practical, easy-to-follow marketing strategy for the weaker, and do it now. I'm amazed that the BHB haven't done that already. They haven't gone round to all the minor courses. What on earth's Lee Richardson getting up to? Roger Easterby knows what he's talking about. Richard Fox picks it up, the story about these jockeys and Yutaka Taki and all the hacks attacking the foreign jockeys. This is what he says here in the Sporting Life. He says, this shoot the foreigner jockey trend is a relatively new phenomena, starting, I believe, by a certain John McCrick. Well, it certainly wasn't. Remember, Freddie Head on Lyfard was one of the American jockeys were attacked when they came over here. All I can say is the jockeys are such crybabies. If anybody attacks them, then, of course, they get back and they go and they're sulks and all that sort of thing. So that's why we're reduced to attacking the foreigners like Adam Condrat. Thank God he won the Gold Cup, thanks to me. In the Daily Mail, tackroom clash of the stableman's fillies. This is Amanda and Julie. What goes on in stables with the jodhpurs and the girls and the trainers, I do not know. That's picked up in the Times. And this great book that Gay Kindersley wrote, Flings Over Fences, and this lovely story that he tells here, it's picked up in the Times, that his friends include the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, despite the fact that once, as he was showing her around his country house, he opened the door to a guest room to reveal an unmarried couple frolicking on the bed. Frolicking, I like that. How nice, murmurs Her Majesty, and I think perhaps we should not go further.
I think for certain neither should we. We'll move on with the course. Mac was saying that we'll give you the courses, the Breeders' Cup. You can see the Breeders' Cup this afternoon, but we've got them there for you now. If you fancy seeing all the races, all 7 races live on the 5th of November, then there are functions at Ascot, Doncaster, Epsom, Goodwood, Newbury, Newmarket, Uttoxeter and Windsor, and we'll update you with the phone numbers for those, how to ring to get places on those this afternoon on the show. Right, it's picture puzzle time. Now, if you don't get this one, you will never get any. This horse was declared, I say it again, this horse was declared to run at one of today's race meetings. So if you think you know the name of the horse that that Paul Hardman cartoon identifies, the number to ring is 0891 991144, and I've given you a clue with the way I phrase that, 08911144. It's a great day to have a go because we've got a really special star prize. Sometimes I think our star prizes aren't that special, but this one this afternoon is. As usual, for the first 3 out of the hat, there's £100 for each individual. But for the first one out of the hat, well, there's your chance to really to realise a dream. I mean, would you like to own a horse just for the day? Not have to pay for it in training all year round. Just own it for the afternoon. A really good horse like, say, Turtle Island at Royal Ascot. Well, thanks to Peter Savenne, who's joined us this morning, that dream could actually be realised because today, Peter, you've launched a scheme whereby, as I just described, you can make your dreams come true for a day. You can lease a horse for the afternoon.
Yes. You've always been able to lease horses, but the system has been quite cumbersome in the past, quite a lot of paperwork, sort of quite a lot of bureaucracy involved. And recently, or this week, the BHB Jockey Club announced an initiative where you can actually lease a horse just for the day. And this means that it's a much simpler procedure, and anybody can experience the thrill of ownership by taking a horse for the day. And my company has been working towards being able to get a fully developed plan so we can offer it next week.
But, I mean, Peter, I mean, it sounds a very grand idea, and I've just, mentioned one example that you and I were discussing beforehand. I mean, you've actually canvassed and got widespread support already, haven't you?
Yes, I thought it was absolutely essential to go to see the major owners and the trainers. And with the trainers, I developed the plan by talking to them. And then I went to see Robert Sangster and talked it through with him, and he liked the idea and said, yes, certainly, he would allow me to take horses, lease horses from him for clients who I'd produced. That we're talking about the major races.
Okay, I've rung you up or got in touch with you. I've leased a horse. What do I get?
You most likely will have an idea of the race you want to aim for. It may be you want to give a present to somebody a day at the races with their own horse, or maybe you're a company who's taking a part of the races and they want a runner in their own race. You get in touch with me and say the level of the investment you'd like to make. I then find you the horse through the trainers and the owners who I've been in contact with. I find you a horse in your race which is going to have a good chance.
Are we talking a lot of money? Are we talking hundreds, thousands?
The cost of the cost of the lease depends on the value of the race. If you're talking of races at Royal Ascot, then the value of the race means that we've got to pay quite a lot for the horse, and therefore it makes it a fairly expensive package. Okay. But you can come right the way down to, say, a penalty value of £3,500 to the winner, which I'm finding one for Sunday next week, which that will cost you under £2,000.
And Peter, two more questions really, because we're running short of time, but how do people get involved if they're interested? I'm sure a lot of people will be.
Well, I put an advertisement in the Sporting Life and the Racing Post today with my contact number, so please ring me.
And secondly, your star prize. I said you were giving a star prize. What exactly are you giving?
I'm offering the winner of your competition. I'm not sure which competition you said it was.
The picture puzzle.
The picture puzzle competition. I'm offering him a horse in a race today fortnight here at Doncaster in the first race, and I can't remember what the name of it was.
The median auction.
The median auction.
Median auction.
Median auction race.
Very best of luck with that. Thanks for coming in and talking to us about it. And Peter, of course, will be giving more details to the press this morning. That really is an innovative idea, and it could well catch on. So, hopefully a runner for one of our viewers in 2 weeks' time, but these won't be running today. Let's just run through them. In the 340 at Doncaster, number 7, Indian Light. At Newbury in the 330, number 12, maybe today. And in the 435, number 10, Suleymore.
Very quiet on the betting front, no steamers today, and that quiz question I gave you, which Racing Post Trophy winner was favourite for the 2,000 guineas in the Derby? It was Prétendre in 66, runner-up to Charlottetown on the Derby. Easy, Prétendre, but no steamers. Take the best prizes available in the papers this morning.
Last week, Tomo said a lot of people like to have a Yankee with the charity bets. I know a lot of people that don't like to have a Yankee on the charity bets. But for those of you who wish them, here they are this afternoon. Peter Staveni's gone for Inherent Magic in the 240 at Doncaster. Lesley's gone for number 1, Annus Mirabilis in the 340 at Doncaster. Oaksey for Good Riddance. Let's hope we're not saying that to him after it's run in the 310 at Doncaster. I'm sure we won't. John Frankham and I both like Painted Madam in the 415 at Doncaster. And talking of John Frankham, well, our hunky host will be here this afternoon to front the Racing Post Trophy Day. Big race this afternoon. Will Celtic swing, or will it be an Animus Mirabilis year and birthday day for Michael Stout? Join us later on and find out. Thanks for watching.
The Channel 4 Racing Diary for 1995 is out in the shops, priced £4.99.
It's me,